Welcome to On Texas Football. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I am Bobby Burton, joined by Gerry Hamilton and Jeff Howe, also of On Texas Football. This episode brought to you by our friends over at Allegiant Digital Marketing. Guys, a lot going on this weekend. Longhorns baseball team hosting Dartmouth for a 3-game series. Jeff, you were out at that. Of course, we watched the basketball team kind of implode yesterday. I don't even know if they got off the starting I don't even think they got out of the starting blocks on Saturday night. And then also the women play coming up on Saturday, the softball team doing well. Gerry, you broke some news, though, yesterday, and that's where we'll start. 3 wide receivers have set official visits, bang, 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 with the Longhorns. That happened yesterday. Break those down for us real quick with you, if you will, and then we'll get to the other topics, too.
Yeah, Naeem Burrows announced his official visits, and Texas will get him on campus June 20th. That is the jet fast wide receiver from the Bowles School in Jacksonville. Obviously, Texas got Jamie French out of Jacksonville last year. Texas, Florida, Clemson are the top 3 there. I think Florida is really the competition, and USC is also getting an official visit right now. So there's a 5th one out there possible for Naeem Burrows, but he's expected on campus in the spring, and again, obviously for that June 20th official visit. He's never been on campus before, nor is his family, so it sets up like Jamie French's recruitment, but that doesn't mean it's going to end like Jamie French's recruitment. We'll have to see. The 2 guys that we broke at On Texas Football, Texas commitment, Chris Stewart announced, he told me yesterday that his official visit is locked in for June 13th to Texas. Now, the kicker there, his brother in the same class has started getting offers as a safety, and Chris Stewart said he's taking more than 1 visit. So I would say that commitment is, there's some rough waters there. What happens with Texas and Chris Stewart, it remains to be seen. And then the other one was, I think, is a really big one. Aaron Gregory, the 4-star plus, top 75, top 50 level kid in the country out of Douglasville, Georgia, Douglas County. He is a Texas A&M commitment. He's coming in on June 13th. I also expect it in the spring at some point. We'll probably go to Texas, then Texas A&M, right? And there's a lot of people in Georgia that don't think he'll end up at Texas A&M. I'm not reporting that, though, because in the NIL day and age, you just don't know. But Texas has been working that one for a while. They tried to get him on campus during the season, just couldn't do it. Chris Jackson went by the school in January, but Aaron Gregory, one of the top wide receivers in the country, is scheduled to be in Austin June 13th. Now, of course, A&M will try their best to get him to not make those visits, but I expect him to make visits to other places as well in a recruitment among SEC and national powers there. So 3 new receivers, that's 6 receivers all told to have official visits scheduled. And I'll say this, Texas, that doesn't mean because Tristan Keys doesn't have a visit, Texas isn't recruiting Tristan Keys hard. They're recruiting him with everything they got. They want to get him in for a spring unofficial visit and then bump one of those visits, get a June official visit. And Tristan Keys does plan to get in the spring. Texas is not giving up on Tristan Keys.
And that's a young man out of Hattiesburg. Let me ask a question. Aaron, just a player type comparison for Aaron Gregory. Is it Ryan Wingo, maybe? Body type and size and speed combo?
He's probably 6'2", 175. I think he's a thinner kid than that. So maybe more in that Khalid Lockett body frame type guy. But, I don't have it. I need to think about that one as far as a comparison.
Okay, gotcha. I just wondered. And Naeem Burrows, you said a real jet, super fast guy.
Yeah, he'll run in the 10.5s at the end of the track season.
Okay. All right. Hey, sponsored by today, Allegiant Digital Marketing. Thank you so much to Chad Markham and his crew for sponsoring our Sunday's recap here of what's going on in the world of Longhorn sports and athletics. If you're looking for ways to grow your business, save up to $2,500 in advertising by visiting allegiantdigital.com/ontexasfootball with Allegiant Digital Marketing today. For more than 25 years, Allegiant Digital founder and CEO Chad Markham, a UT grad and instructor of the Digital Marketing Boot Camp here at UT Austin, has helped thousands of businesses overcome challenges. Take advantage of their Hook 'em Horns special today and save up to $2,500 in advertising. Visit allegiantdigital.com/ontexasfootball to learn more. Jeff, you've been out at the Dish the last couple of days watching the Longhorns play baseball. They've taken 2 from Ivy League opponent Dartmouth. but they've both been by the skin of their teeth, one-run victories. What have you seen out there that you like, don't like? What's been the story so far of this series? Texas already won the series, obviously, but they get at it again a little bit later this afternoon.
Yeah, the only thing the RPI cares about, Bobby, at the end of the regular season when it's time to seed these teams for the tournament is if it's a W. You just can't lose these kind of games. I like the way the schedule is set up for Texas. They played the tournament at Global Life last weekend, Dartmouth this weekend, and then next weekend they'll go to Vegas where they get Washington, Texas Tech, and Illinois. The main takeaway for me is starting pitching hasn't been great, and these are miserable conditions. Friday and Saturday are miserable conditions to play baseball. You're talking about 40 degree, low 40s, upper 30s, and misty. Starting pitching wasn't great, but two really, really strong bullpen days. Thomas Burns on Friday, and then Saturday it was Dre Duplantier and Max Grubbs. And philosophically, we're starting to learn. Max Weiner did a tremendous job at Texas A&M with their pitchers, and we're learning kind of his philosophy when you talk to some of the Texas arms. Hey, what's the difference? Especially for guys like Duplantier and Grubbs, they're kind of sinker ball pitchers. It's if you just locate your pitches and pitch to contact and let the defense work, it doesn't have to look pretty. Just you're going to get, you'll get used more because your pitch count's going to stay low and we'll win ball games. And that's kind of the approach we saw both those guys take. Look, it's been a struggle for the offense early in this series. There's no question about that. But, hey, they kind of got lucky. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. They got a little flare double from Max Ballou on Saturday. And 71 was the exit velo off the bat. And he kind of joked after the game. He was like, that's probably the lowest exit velo extra base hit he'll ever have in his life. But, I just like the fact, Bobby, they're finding ways to win. And like I said, when you play these non-conference series at home, and especially your midweek games against, one bid leagues, these losses will kill you when it comes to the RPI. So finding ways to win ball games. And Schloss said after the game, he said, look, early on, we just got to win them however we can. So in that series at Globe Life, the tournament at Globe Life, it was all about the offense and run scoring. This weekend, it's been all about the pitching. But for me, it's great to see Texas be able to win games again, relying on pitching and defense. It hadn't been clean, hadn't been pretty, but it's been effective. So hopefully if that trend holds, Kimball Schuessler's starting to hit a little bit. Ballou's been really good to start the year. Adrian Rodriguez has been everything we thought he'd be. Easton Winfield, Casey Borba, guys at the bottom of the lineup are still trying to find it. But I'm not worried about their offensive output. If they can pitch and play defense, this team's got a chance.
Hey, Jeff, I got a question of that. When you're out at the ballpark all day and it's in the 30s and 40s, is emergency your go-to, or do you just go ahead and do Theraflu and Mucinex beforehand?
Yeah, you just get the I guess just get the IV drip going all day, Jerry. Just double fist and orange juice and I don't know, non-drowsy NyQuil.
So here's the most important question though, Jeff. How did Jonah Williams look warming up an outfielder? Because that's all Texas football fans care about.
I said it. I was like, I could write the best game story ever, and the video of Jonah Williams will be the most important thing I published today. Yeah, the big thing is coming back from the clavicle injury, and look. I don't think Schloss is expecting him to play a ton this year just because of the timing of the injury and to get into that outfield mix. I mean, they've got 4 really good outfielders that they feel good about. But so I'm not counting on Jonah Williams to play a ton. But, the fact that he's able to throw and he's making progress, that's in an offseason where we don't know what spring football is going to look like. That may be one of the best notes we get, Jerry, is just looking at Jonah Williams' progress. And the good thing is, though, with as much baseball as we see, we'll get to see the progress of, hey, he's, warming up the outfielders to, okay, now he's throwing on the side to, all right, now he's in drills. So it's a positive step in the right direction for Jonah Williams.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. You've been around to see the end of the Augie Garrido era, started David Pierce, now Jim Schlossy. You feel good about the direction of the Texas baseball program at this point? I know it's very, very early, but there are some telltale signs early in programs. You feel good about the overall direction of Texas baseball?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, one thing that I really like, Bobby, this might sound like not a big deal to some people, but, towards the end of last year, you can just tell even the guys, it wasn't anything personal against David Pierce, but when you're having to get asked every day, hey, do you think your coach is going to be back? Do you think your coach is going to get fired? Guys were just ready for the year to be done. I mean, they were drained. And, to see guys in the late innings, I mean, they're not just watching the game, they're perched up on the dugout. They're chirping. Guys are being great teammates. That dugout is loud. It's lively, which wasn't the case at all last year. Schloss and the players have said, hey, we're going to lead the SEC in fun. And again, I don't know, that may sound cheesy, but college baseball is a long season. With the Houston game canceled, it's a 55-game season. So you better be bringing juice to the ballpark. And some days juice is going to be enough to get you through once you really hit the midway point of the season and things start to get redundant. So I like it, though, Bobby. Everybody's excited, especially the pitchers. They love kind of Max Wiener, his approach, just kind of a different way he's delivering the message. It's a little more positive. I think especially the returning guys, you can tell a difference with them. So, yeah, I really like the way it's trending right now. And I'll tell you what, the way Schloss is getting things done in recruiting, if they can get this thing rolling on the field, it's going to get really good really quick over at the Dish.
That's good stuff. Look, Texas wants to be one of the best baseball programs in the country. That's why they went out and hired Jim Schlossnagle. Gerry, I got to ask you next about basketball because Rodney Terry, they took one on the chin last night, dude. That was not pretty from the outset. They were down by 20 at half. I don't know how many times that is this year where they've been down by 18 or 20 at half.
Yeah,
it looked like they come out with their feet in concrete. I don't know what else to say.
You can't do that in this league. I mean, we talked about even South Carolina. They were 0-13 in SEC play, but they had played Auburn and a couple other teams within a possession or two at home. They were an NCAA tournament team last year that lost a lot. If you come out slow, ineffective on offense, not being effective movers of the basketball, effective cutting, being very active, you're going to get chewed up and spit out in this league. Again, I say this all the time, but if you look at all your winning scores yesterday, the home teams were all in the 80s and 90s. And the road teams, Florida won on the road with 79 points. Tennessee won on the road with 77, I believe it was, at A&M. Which congrats to Rick Barnes because he rarely won at A&M for a while when he was at Texas. So congrats to Rick. You got to have to be on your game offensively in this league. There is no doubt about it. And now, look, the discussion about Rodney Terry is different. But for this basketball team, now their backs are really up against the wall to make the NCAA tournament. This was a game. It's the one that will, if you're on the bubble, it's going to bounce you. Especially if South Carolina ends up 2-16 or 1-17 in SEC play. This is the one that's going to bounce you. Texas has to find a way to get to 8 wins to get in the tournament. I believe, especially after that loss, that means they have to win 3 of the last 4 at Arkansas, Georgia at home, at Mississippi State, and Oklahoma at home. Oklahoma showed a little signs of life yesterday. They scored 93 against Mississippi State in a win at home. So Texas is they're up against it now to make the NCAA tournament. And for the Rodney Terry discussion, obviously the seat is extremely hot.
Yeah, the seat is definitely hot. South Carolina scored 84. They hadn't scored 80 in conference play all year.
Yeah.
And Texas loses by 15, 84-69. Texas at 20-something points at halftime. Again, it looked like their feet were in concrete. In the first half. And I don't know if it's because of all of the injuries they've kind of played, whether it's Kaluma is out or Julian Larry or Tremont Mark constantly with it, but they just don't seem like they have a feel for what their best group is even yet. And here we are. I mean, we only got 4 games left in conference play. Like you said, they have 5 conference wins. They finished with Arkansas, Georgia, Mississippi State, and OU. They got to win 3 of 4.
And 2 of those are road games against good teams.
Yeah, and so that's tough. Women's basketball, by the way, they play tomorrow night, not tonight. I mean, it's a strange Monday game for the women, but they put their top 5 or top 3 ranked team on the line with Vic Schaefer. They get going. Jeff, you'll have more from Dish Falk later today. Gerry, you've got a video coming up where you're going to talk about official visits, later today. That should be really good because we're
up to 30, Bobby, official visitors. It's happening quicker this year. Just a little preview for that. I've had 3 different college coaches from 3 different conferences tell me kids are trying to lock in official visits earlier this year than last year even. So everything is accelerating in recruiting. And what that is doing is that is forcing Texas to lock in some official visit dates because they want the majority. Texas doesn't do May official visits. Sark wants to do June official visits. And there's a big fight and battle for June 13th, June 20th weekends. And Texas is going to have more June 6th, 8th visitors than they've had in previous years, in my estimation. But I'm also going to put a story out on Texas football in a little while about how many official visitors it could be. It was 41 in June last year. I think we're going past it this year.
So, Gerry, you're saying, just briefly, you're saying that everybody is fighting for earlier official visits, and because of that, it's pushing up timeline across the board. Why is that? Is that just any particular reason?
It's kids and families wanting to lock in dates earlier this year versus the last couple of cycles, it seems. So it's pushing these staffs to really get these visits locked in. I mean, like we just hit on it. Texas locked in 3 wide receivers in the last 48 hours for official visits. So they have 6 official visitors now, a wide receiver. So they're moving faster at all these positions to try to get kids locked in for dates, because these kids and these families, for whatever reason, and I don't know the reason for sure on that, they're wanting to accelerate the setting up of the visit process.
It's interesting. Maybe it's just because this is the first. We're just evolving. Recruiting is evolving because of the transfer portal and everything else. The December time frame, we saw everybody basically sign in December this year, whereas at least a couple of years ago we saw some sign in January or February. All right,
Bob, I have a thought that coaches brought up. Is it because the agents, or whatever you want to call it, they know profit sharing's coming, and they're trying to get their kids locked in on visit dates, potentially earlier, to lock into the schools they want to visit? I don't know. It's just a thought I had.
That'll be interesting because profit sharing is not necessarily happening yet. We got to wait for the House settlement in April. A lot of people acting like it's a done deal, but it still has to be approved by the judges. All right, that's going to do it. Quick update here. Thank you, Jeff Howe, for checking in. Thanks, Gerry Hamilton, for the news and notes as well. And thank you to Allegiant Digital Marketing, our sponsor, for today's update. Again, Gerry will be back talking recruiting official visits, and I do think that's going to be one you want to watch a little bit later today. Guys, y'all have a good Sunday. Hope everybody has a fun day. We'll see you again tonight at 7 at the live stream. Hook 'em.